It started on her very first day. Jasmine Walker stood quietly at the edge of Brookdale High's courtyard, clutching her backpack, scanning the sea of unfamiliar faces. She was new. The only black girl in a school where everyone seemed to know each other. The whispers had started the moment she stepped onto campus, about her skin, her hair, her quiet confidence. But Jasmine wasn't new to this. She'd moved around her whole life. Her father's job demanded it. What no one at Brookdale knew, what Jasmine never shared, was that her father wasn't just in law enforcement. He was the director of the FBI. And Jasmine. She'd learned how to hold her head high in every school, in every town, because her family had taught her something powerful: dignity is strength. But the bullies didn't see that. They saw a quiet girl alone in a crowd. An easy target. It started with snide comments. Nice weave. Who even let her in here? Must be charity work. Jasmine heard them all. And ignored every single one. She smiled, kept walking, and stayed focused on her classes. But the bullies, especially a senior named Rick Coleman, weren't satisfied with words. Rick had a reputation. Star football player. Loudmouth. Known for pushing boundaries and getting away with it. His father was a local politician, so teachers looked the other way. And Rick loved making people feel small. On the third day, everything came crashing down. It happened between classes in the crowded hallway. Jasmine was walking to history class when she felt a hard slap on her backside. The sound echoed. Laughter followed. She spun around, heart pounding, to see Rick grinning with his friends, their eyes full of mockery. "Welcome to Brookdale, sweetheart," Rick sneered. For a moment, everything stopped. Jasmine felt the sting, not just on her body, but in her heart. The shame. The violation. The laughter echoing around her. She could have walked away. But she didn't. Jasmine turned, faced Rick directly, and in a calm voice that sliced through the noise, said, "Did you just assault me?" The hallway grew quiet. Rick's grin faltered, but he doubled down. "Relax. It's just a joke." Jasmine nodded slowly. "Right. A joke." She reached into her backpack and pulled out her phone. With steady hands, she pressed a button. "Dad," she said into the speaker, "I need you at school. Rick Coleman just assaulted me. I've got witnesses." Rick's face paled. "What? Who are you calling?" Jasmine looked him dead in the eyes. "My father. Director Walker. FBI." The hallway exploded in murmurs. Rick's friends backed away. One even whispered, "Dude, you're screwed." Within minutes, the school's principal rushed down the hall, followed by security. Jasmine stood her ground, her phone still connected. On the other end, her father's voice, calm, commanding, asked for details. By the end of the day, the truth was out. The school board was notified. An official investigation was launched. Rick Coleman's father couldn't pull strings fast enough. The assault, because that's exactly what it was on camera. Several students had recorded it. The evidence was undeniable. Rick faced suspension, criminal charges, and a ruined reputation. But that wasn't the real story. The real story was how Jasmine handled it. She didn't lash out in anger. She didn't crumble under pressure. She stood tall, spoke clearly, and let the truth speak louder than hate. The news spread. Students started coming up to her, not out of fear, but respect. Girls who had been harassed before. Boys who had stayed silent. Even teachers whispered, "Thank you for standing up." Jasmine didn't want fame. She didn't want attention. She wanted change. So, she started a movement, Students for Respect, a campaign promoting dignity, consent, and zero tolerance for harassment. It began with a small group. Then more joined. Posters went up. Talks were held in classrooms. The principal backed it. The school changed. Brookdale wasn't perfect, but it got better. As for Rick, he transferred schools. His influence shattered, his legacy ruined, not by revenge, but by his own actions exposed. And Jasmine. She remained strong. A symbol of what happens when courage meets injustice. Because sometimes, bullies don't realize the power of the person they're messing with, until it's too late. And for Rick Coleman, slapping Jasmine wasn't just wrong. It was the biggest mistake he ever made. The following week at Brookdale High felt different. The hallways weren't filled with snickering whispers anymore. Instead, there was a quiet sense of reflection, an awareness most students hadn't felt before. For the first time, the school wasn't rallying around the popular crowd. They were rallying around Jasmine. She wasn't loud about it. She didn't walk around with an attitude or try to make a scene. She just kept doing what she always did. Showing up, being kind, and standing tall. But her presence now carried weight. One afternoon in the cafeteria, a freshman girl named Emily nervously approached her. "Jasmine. I just wanted to say thank you," Emily whispered. "Rick, he used to mess with me too. I never thought anyone would actually stop him." Jasmine gave her a warm smile. No one deserves to be treated like that. Ever. Word traveled fast. Jasmine's quiet courage sparked conversations in classrooms, hallways, and even around dinner tables at home. The principal invited Jasmine to speak at a school assembly. She didn't give a long speech. She simply shared her heart. "I'm not here because I'm the daughter of someone important," Jasmine said, her voice echoing across the auditorium. "I'm here because I know what it feels like to be humiliated, to feel powerless. And I'm here to remind you that none of us are powerless, not when we stand together." The auditorium erupted in applause. After that day, Students for Respect became more than just a campaign. It became a movement. Posters with quotes like, "Respect is power," and "Your voice matters," lined the hallways. Students started sharing their own stories, anonymously or openly. The school set up a safe reporting system for harassment. Teachers went through training on how to handle bullying and consent issues. Brookdale High transformed. Even students who once laughed at Jasmine now looked at her with admiration. Not because she embarrassed a bully, but because she chose the higher road. And Jasmine. She continued walking those hallways with quiet strength, knowing that sometimes, the most powerful stand you'll ever take, is simply refusing to back down when it matters most. One evening, Jasmine sat with her father on their porch. He looked at her with pride in his eyes. "You didn't just defend yourself. You changed something bigger than you'll ever know." Jasmine smiled. "I didn't do it alone. They stood with me." Her father nodded. Real leadership isn't about titles, it's about courage. The story of Jasmine Walker became a legacy at Brookdale High, a story that freshmen would hear about for years to come. Not as the FBI director's daughter, but as the girl who proved that respect is non-negotiable. And for every person who ever felt too small, too scared, or too alone, Jasmine's story became a light in the dark. Because sometimes, all it takes is one brave voice to silence 100 cruel ones. And when you stand for yourself, you teach the world how to stand too.